All right, now we're gonna paint the normal version of the painting, but still remembering what we learned from the planes in terms of our brushwork and just help us see more in the photo. Let's get into it. It's got our 6x8" panel here. Got a reference up. Let's start. Same palette as the exercise: Ivory Black, Ultramarine Blue, Legend Crimson, Burnt Sienna, Cadmium Red, Yellow Ochre, Cadmium Lemon, Titanium White. Just gonna grab a little bit of Burnt Sienna and Ultramarine Blue. My zero flat brush to draw it in. Kind of just start in the center here and kind of see where this apple crosses over. Kind of seeing like how far down, like this space. Getting that right there. I feel like it's a lot easier for me to draw this with straight lines having done the plain fruit. This bottom gets angled. That there. See, already kind of looks like an apple. Now, going to get a little more specific with the bottom here with these little like feet of the apple, and then this cast shadow kind of goes like that. I feel like I can taper this in a little bit, but then I got this cast shadow on it from the lemon right there, and then trying to squint my eyes, I feel like so it actually kind of comes like that. I'm gonna put the back right around there. Now the lemon, little thing to take note of with the lemon is that where it's on the ground, if you drew a plumb line straight over, it's below the apple, which is gonna help sit it back. You don't want these to be on the same plane, so drop it down. This should be kind of right around here. So make sure you got that. This is shadow. Now we're just going to map out the shadow shape. I feel like it's a little more obvious actually in this than the plain fruit one, because you got all this right there. Then get the back right there. So I think we're ready to go. I'm just going to just take my big brush, some Ivory Black, just a little bit of paint thinner to get it going, touch of white, and Gonna just get the background in so we don't have to worry about it. It's also going to help us identify values, knowing that this is one of the darkest values. It doesn't need to take a long time. Just get that all covered. And what I like to do is take some of this and just get some of these dark accents. Right at the base of the fruit there. Now we can jump on in to our apple. Let's do the shadowed side. Just getting some of our cadmium red, just mixing it right into that black from before. Remember, we're just trying to get an average value. Like I know you're gonna see, like purples and that blue right there is really cool. Right now, I want something that's not too dark, not too light, just to establish the shadowed side. This apple, and I'm actually gonna come out just a little bit more. And then a little shadow right in there. Now, need the light side of the apple. Branch off some white, still pulling in some of that shadow color, just mixing that right in. Getting just a touch of white. Actually, bring that out there. And I'm just trying to fill it in. Just filling in the big shape. So we got light, we got shadow. Now it's time to play in between these and work edges. I always like to start with dark, so I'm actually gonna go back to dark, push a little more black into this red mixture, and you see the darkest part, the apple is right there. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna literally just get my background color, which is the black with just a little bit of white. And I'm just going to pull that right into there like that. Same thing right down right there. And just losing the edge between the ground and the apple there. Now I'm gonna get something, like push the red in this, and get something that's like kind of in between these two. For this kind of one area right here, and also make that a smooth transition from light to shadow. Same thing here. See how it's already starting to shape up? Soften in that transition right there. getting rid of that canvas. Now for the fun part, get some blue, touch of white, and crimson. Something like that. And then pulling this right into there. It kind of fades as it gets further along. I see this over here as well. Just going to lighten it up a little bit. Now, coming back to the red, still red with a little bit of black, but I'm going to lighten it up. Going to start finding lighter value right there, right there. Going to come back, just kind of bluish, kind of get it in between of these, kind of a, see this kind of reflection right there. Now, I'm not going to go to the brightest highlight just yet. I'm going to put something down right before it. Softly, lightly. See, I'm letting that mix in. It's a really soft. I'm just going to lighten, soften the edges there. That way it can come back in the middle of it for the bright highlight. Now, getting a little bit, actually, on my brush, get a little bit of cad lemon and then a little ivory black. It's going to make a green. And a touch of red. I want this to be relatively light because this, as it goes down into there, it gets lighter. And again, soften. Whoop, transition. Kind of went over a little too far there. It's no problem. Just come back like that. Now I'm actually going to come back to a shadow red. It's the red and the ivory black. And then this cast shadow from the stem. Right there. And you see like how much of the apple's like already working at this point, because you have the structure. Just pushing that a little bit lighter. And I'm just going to get a real small brush. Actually, just get some burnt sienna, a touch of the black, do the shadowed side first. That stem. Get some yellow ochre, cad red. Just for the light side there. Come back to this green, add a little bit of white just for the top part right there. Actually, that needs a little more red. So now everything is there. It's just kind of like little touch-ups, like pushing that right there. So kind of connecting that right there. But let's move on to the lemon. Have some fun with that. I'm gonna start, as I always do, with the shadowed side. Actually, just gonna start with yellow. Actually, some burnt sienna. I think it's gonna get me there pretty quickly. Then maybe a touch of blue. A little more blue, a little more red. I think that should work. Actually, a little more red. A little more red and yellow, kind of push it a little more orange. But don't be afraid to go pretty dark and muddy with this. I feel like a lot of people, they think, oh, lemon, it needs to be bright yellow, everything, and it really isn't. Got the shadowed side right there. Now I'm actually just going to take my black that's underneath here, just soften that edge. But let's go back to the light side. Let's get some yellow. Again, kind of just branching off from that shadow color. A little more yellow and a little more red. Maybe a little burnt sienna is a good color to add to it. Keep it from getting too vibrant, too orangey. Again, just trying to block out the light side here. Not going as light as possible because I need room. So let's go to the shadow side and do the reflected light from the ground. Let's do a little blue, a little bit of the crimson, some white. It's a little too much. I want this to get worked in to the color that's there. I know this may be hard to see in the photo reference. I'm going to push a little yellow into this. I'm actually just going to push it right up in there and soften that edge. Soften that transition from light to shadow. Now let's go in the opposite direction. Add some more yellow. Touch of white to this. A little more red. Can't go too light, too bright, too fast. I'm just seeing the brightest area right there. I see another one there and there. And then let's go one round lighter, some more white. I feel like it's just like right there. kind of the main area. It's pretty bright there too. But I feel like that's working pretty well. I'm actually going to come back with some yellow, some red, touch of burnt sienna, and just trying to find like a, just shifting this color here. That's too bright. Working that transition. Noticing, I'm just going to push a little red into this. Like, it gets kind of warm right here. A little like warm right into there. All right, so it's all pretty much there. Now we need to put in the ground. I'm going to start with the cast shadows. A little bit of white, blue, some crimson, maybe a touch of the ivory black. Definitely need some more crimson in there. And then we're going to come back and finesse those shadows a little bit, but first just want to get the light part of the ground in, which is just some white, blue, some crimson. I'm actually going to push it a little cooler with some more blue towards the back here. Keep more red up front. So that red's going to be warmer. And I like getting in like this light in, because now when I come back to reestablish the shadows, I can like work it in and get soft edges. So I'm getting like a little bit of blue, little ivory black, paying really close attention to drawing, pushing a little crimson in here of these shadows and their angle and where they go. Like things get really dark underneath here, and this kind of comes straight out. little foot of the apple. Then another little foot of the apple right there. And then this is really dark. That's working pretty well. I'm actually going to come back in with some burnt sienna here to my lemon mixture. Maybe a touch of this purple. I'm just seeing I need like to kind of reestablish some darker darks right in there. I think that works well. Coming back and just softening the edges of these shadows. It's going to help a lot. Right. Just kind of touch-ups at this point. Kind of pushing some darks in that apple. Not afraid to lose the edge between the bottom of the apple and the shadow here. Kind of cooling down the shadow out here a bit. A lot darker. I think this is looking good. Just kind of pushing this highlight a little bit more. Soften it up. All right. Again, pushing kind of this dark purpley, a little more red in it right around there. All right, fun still life painting. It's working pretty well. All right, hope you enjoyed that one. I will see you in the next tutorial.